who now stood jesting with so sweet a spirit and claiming kinship of cousinhood with me, as was truth, now that I did wake to think. And truly she made no ado, but named me Frank by my lad's name, and gave laughter and right to me to name her Murdath, and nothing less or more at that time. And she bid me then to come up through the hedge, and make use of a gap that was her own especial secret, as she confessed, when she took odd leave with her maid to some country frolic, dressed as village maids, but not to deceive many, as I dare believe. And I came up through the gap in the hedge and stood beside her, and tall she had seemed to me when I looked up at her, and tall she was in truth, but indeed I was a great head taller. And she invited me then to walk with her to the house, that I meet her guardian and give word to my sorrow that I had so long neglected to make call upon them. And truly her eyes to shine with mischief and delight as she named me so for my amissness. But indeed she grew sober in a moment, and she set up her finger to me to hush, as that she heard somewhat in the wood that lay all the way upon our right. And indeed something I heard too, for there was surely a rustling of the leaves, and anon a dead twig cracked with a sound clear and sharp in the stillness. And immediately there came 3 men running out of the wood at me, and I called to them sharply to keep off or beware of harm, and I put the maid to my back with my left hand, and had my oak staff ready for my use. But the 3 men gave out no word of reply, but ran in at me, and I saw somewhat of the gleam of knives, and at that I moved very glad and brisk to the attack. And behind me there went shrill and sweet the call of a silver whistle, for the maid was whistling for her dogs, and maybe the call was also a signal to the men-servants of her house. Yet truly there was no use in help that was yet to come, for the need did be then an instant, and I nowise loath to use my strength before my sweet cousin. And I stepped forward briskly, as I have told, and the end of my staff I drove into the body of the leftward man, so that he dropped like a dead man, and I hit very sharply at the head of another, and surely cracked it for he made instantly upon the earth. But the 3rd man I met with my fist, and neither had he any great need of a second blow, but went instant to join his companions, and the fight thus to have ended before it was even proper begun, and I laughing a little with a proper pride, to know the bewilderment that I perceived in the way that the lady Murdath, my cousin, stood and regarded me through the dusk of the hushed even. But indeed there was no time left to us, before there came bounding up 3 great boarhounds that had been loosed to her whistle. And she had some ado to keep the brutes off me, and I then to beat them off the men upon the earth, lest they maul them as they lay. And directly there was a noise of men shouting, and the light of lanterns in the night, and the footmen of the house to come running with lanterns and cudgels, and knew not whether to deal with me or not in the first moment, even as the dogs. But when they saw the men upon the ground, and learned my name and saw me proper, they kept well their distance, and had no lack of respect. But indeed my sweet cousin to have the most of any, only that she showed no intent to keep distance of me, but to have a new and deeper feeling of kinship than she at first had shown. And the men-servants asked what should be done with the footpads, seeing that they were now recovering. But indeed I left the matter, along with some silver, to the servants, and a very sound justice they dealt out to the men, for I heard their cries a good while after we had gone away. Now, when we were come up to the hall, my cousin must take me in to her guardian, Sir Alfred Jarles, an old man and venerable, that I knew a little in passing, and because our estates abounded. And she praised me to my face, yet quaintly wise. And the old man, her guardian, thanked me most honourably, and with a nice courtesy, so that I was a welcome house friend from that time onward. And I stayed all that evening.